अगर आपको फिर मौका मिले आज 84 साल की उम्र में विलेन का रोल करने का और पर्दे पे फिर वही बलात्कार करने का मौका मिले तो कौन सी हीरोइन चुनेंगे आप?
I never usually react to this Bollywood videos, Bollywood gossip videos, but since the title was Expose Industry Secrets, and Bollywood has always been interlinked with politics, so I just wanted to know what are those secrets, and I'm a fan of the guy who makes these videos. So I watch them, but I don't never react to them. But this time I thought of reacting to them. Reacting to it. I don't think it's gonna be any more such videos, but it's just this one.
It still blows my mind that a journalist can ask this question, not be reprimanded, and have a silly smile across his face while even asking it. Just on a side note, in reference to the horrifying introduction video, I must tell
This guy, the interviewer, he always asks these kind of questions. There was a viral interview of his with Shilpa Shetty and with Sunny Leone as well, where he asks these very uncomfortable questions, and then he has that creepy smile on his face.
you that half the celebrities don't take me seriously if they don't know the channel because they think I am a knockoff Bobby Deol lookalike influencer who will ask them TikTok questions just for reels. Half the journalists get away with asking some of the dumbest and most tone-deaf questions either because they are too old or look dignified. Anyway, everyone complains about the atmosphere of Bollywood interviews today on how they have become heavily curated and how there is a form of self-censorship taking place amongst actors. Gone are the days where actors could speak their mind not only about what they feel about the film industry and their co-stars, but could openly comment about the political state of the country. While this spectrum still includes anomalies like Randeep Hooda on one side and Prakash Raj on the other, most celebrities want to avoid becoming national news with their statements. Through this video, I wanted to speak about anecdotes or mild rant sessions that actors go on in interviews where they inadvertently expose a secret about the industry. This can range from actual problems that the industry is dealing with, horrifying anecdotes of misbehavior, or simply industry standards that have become normalized on a concerning level. Getting right into it, here is Tried and Refused Productions with When Bollywood Interviews Expose Industry Secrets. Imran Khan. The actor on this PR run of interviews most recently revealed several harsh realities of what he has faced in the industry. I still don't know what is the supposed comeback movie of Imran after doing so much press in these last few years, but the actor opened up about the insecurities he felt as an artist, the fish out of water experience he had because he did not entirely resonate with the themes of commercial cinema and what was required from him as an actor. When he was especially asked about looking like the physically aesthetic hero, if you see his filmography and the stark difference on how he looked from Jaane Tu Ya Jaane Na to Kidnap, you can see a stark transformation. Imran openly spoke about the use of steroids and the pressure that existed around him to fit a particular mode, at least visually.
Knocking back whey protein, still not bulking up enough. Eventually reaching the place of saying, I'm going to try anabolic steroids, I'm going to try juicing. You try that, the results are great, you look great.
We often restrict our assessment of actors, especially stars, within the confines of their acting performances.
Kangana was talking about this because recently in an interview she said whenever these actors gathered, they always talked about how people looked, what brands of bags or clothes you're gonna wear, what makeup you're gonna wear, what surgery like Botox you're gonna have, what Botox someone else has had. So these were the topics that were always discussed. So I am not surprised that people are under pressure to look a certain way, because if you're going to a party, if you're going to any gathering and this is the only thing that people talk about, then obviously you want to fit in, you want to be part of the crowd, you don't want to stand out in a bad way. So of course he felt pressured. But yeah, I was a great fan of his. I still am. He made great movies, did actual acting, because not a lot of male actors do acting in Bollywood.
Not really realizing the grueling physical transformations they might be pulling off for
Also, I remember a statement of his where he said that in Bollywood people don't do research. They would just want to produce movies after movies without doing any proper research. So let's say there is a scene of, let's say, a space agency, and there are people sitting in the background with their computers on. So on their computer screen there will be Microsoft Word or Paint or Excel opened up. So they won't do proper research so that the background itself looks like, how much detailing goes into movie making, like people do in Hollywood. So he was saying that that kind of filmmaking is absent in
for the same roles and the eventual toll it takes not only on their body but their mental health as well. Anushka Sharma. The conversation regarding pay parity has been constantly evolving within the film industry, where everyone references that one Amir Khan interview during the promotions of Talash, where he was slightly cornered into admitting that Kareena and Rani should be paid the same as him, only to categorically explain what you get paid is only reflective of what you guarantee in ticket sales, while blanket statements of associating the same paycheck of Amir's to someone like Kareena or Rani, especially as box office draws, was rather foolish. I think Anushka Sharma brought a very pragmatic and realistic take on the matter. She said that she of course does not expect the same pay as the Khans, who have been in this industry for decades, but when it comes to her contemporaries, disparity should not be disrespectful to the point of it being glaringly sexist.
I'm not saying pay me the same money you're paying the Khans, because they've been here for like...
Correct.
But you can't think that my contemporary male actors and I should have such disparity just because I'm a woman and you're saying कि मेरा कोई contribution नहीं है film को.
I do think with examples like Two States, the Humpty and Badri series, a Sui Dhaga for example, both actors should command an equal pay because the stark difference of the star powers of both the leads is not jarringly different. So clearly just acknowledge that there is a tier list, but when the contemporary of course does not have a crazy fan following, be realistic about it. You know this will probably never have a solution because there are no industry standards for the price. I remember when I was struggling as a choreographer.
But I don't think in Badri, Humpty series and in Suidaga there was much disparity. I think they more or less got paid the same, or unless I'm mistaken. So please enlighten me in the comments.
I would pitch a prize for wedding choreography, assuming that there would be unity amongst choreographers कि इससे नीचे तो disrespectful ही हो जाएगा, but there will always be someone desperate for work willing to do it for cheaper. Sanjay Gupta. This is a director who was extremely popular in the 90s and mid-2000s. While his filmography is hilariously about unofficial remakes of South Korean and Hollywood films, there were definitely standout performances in his movies, one of my favorites including Hrithik from Kabil. Sanjay Gupta was a producer of Shootout at Lokhandwala, which showcased Vivek Oberoi in a fiery role as Maya. Vivek Oberoi was grateful for such an opportunity and presumably looked forward to more collaborations with Sanjay Gupta. The actor had rejected Das Kahaniya because he did not want to be a part of an anthology. The creative fallout, however, was mended as after a narration he accepted to do the role that Sonu Sood eventually did in Shootout at Vadala. But things did not go as planned.
He got those calls from that side and everything, and then he just said, no, I can't do the film because I'm doing this other film with that. That's where I lost it. And he had instead gone and done that film Zilla Ghaziabad, which was with Sanju and Arshad. कि उसको बोला गया था कि तेरे को यहाँ मेन हीरो बना देंगे, वहाँ तो जॉन अनिल हीरो हैं, जो भी whatever was fed.
This was the time where the animosity between longtime collaborators Sanjay Gupta and Sanjay Dutt was at its peak and had not been mended like recent days. I used to find the concept of camps of Bollywood slightly silly and exaggerated on how actors can be reprimanded for daring to work with another camp, but it's more real than we ever imagined. Sanjay Dutt. Speaking of the popular star, the casting process of Munna Bhai MBBS is a whirlwind in itself. Rajkumar Hirani describing pitching this film to several actors is still one of my favorite Hindi cinema anecdotes. The main role of the movie was pitched to the likes of Shah Rukh Khan and Vivek Oberoi and eventually landed on the lap of Sanjay Dutt, who was initially offered the role of Zahir. What's hilarious to me, however, in all of this is the way Sanjay Dutt describes saying yes to the film.
So go and read the script upstairs. So when Vinod says that, I go upstairs and I have a couple of cigarettes for half an hour and I come down and I tell him a fantastic script, I have no clue about it.
I sometimes feel that most actors, especially the older lot, either associate with projects because
Sanjay Dutt gives off this very bad boy vibes, which is like a thing prevalent now in like जो बड़े घर के बिगड़े हुए लोग होते हैं ना, जेंजी, वो लोग जो वाइब्स देते हैं कि आई डोंट नो व्हाट्स गोइंग ऑन, आई डोंट केयर, वो वैसा वाइब्स संजय दत्त देता है, which is unique for his generation of actors. I haven't seen anyone else giving off these vibes other than him. कुछ ज़्यादा ही बिगड़ा हुआ लड़का.
Of the personal relationships they share with the creators, or just go off of the paycheck that they will receive. In an ideal world, we would like to believe that every actor is saying yes to the project because they creatively resonate with it, but sometimes it literally is just vibes or simply भाई के साथ काम करेगा, हाँ भाई के साथ काम करूँगा, and it's literally just that. Sriram Raghavan. One of my favorite creators from Hindi cinema is Sriram Raghavan, a creator who just manages a perfect balance of pulpy and smart through his crime thrillers. There is something so particularly enjoyable when a Hindi cinema fanboy makes a movie because you can see the love in every frame, especially his tip-off or homage to vintage Hindi cinema. But what happens when Raghavan delivers a hit and gets mainstream attention is that sometimes these elements need to be compromised because there is a monetary expectation from producers and exhibitors. I am always curious about the conflict that arises between the creative and the production heads, and Raghavan hilariously describes what he experienced prior to the release of Agent Vinod.
One day before the release, the accountant in that office, the producer office, telling me, weekend में 50 मारना पड़ेगा. I said, तू बोला पहला क्यों नहीं बोला ये? मतलब I had no idea.
Imagine talking to a man who made a movie to the best of his ability in cricketing terms. The man is bound to go back to the drawing board and make something smaller and on a tighter budget than dealing with such pressure. Bhumi Pednekar. There is a long-running discussion regarding actors and whether they actually rehearse and learn all of their lines. While some actors consider it to be absolute blasphemy that you haven't learnt your lines for a schedule, some have been accused of reading their lines with the help of a teleprompter. One of them being Akshay Kumar. This was especially noticed by viewers in films in the last few years, where it can be noticed that his eyeline does not match with the character that he is speaking to. This was confirmed by Bhumi Pednekar, an actor who has worked with Akshay Kumar in 2 films, when she gave an interview.
Yeah, because he produces so many films. How is he supposed to learn all the lines in that short period of time? So, I mean, if you think about it, it makes sense. But of course, as viewers, we don't want that. We want complete dedication from an actor.
Interview with Lallan Top and described how Akshay has his own process of making the same technique convincing.
अक्षय कुमार की तरह कोई बोर्ड लेके खड़ा होता है क्या?
नहीं, एक बार मैंने कोशिश की थी, वो भी आर्ट है सर.
I think Bhumi realized that she just revealed the secret and then backtracks into convincing everyone that the star learns his lines, but it's a technique itself of how to make the lines effective while essentially reading out through a teleprompter. Just like this video.
But the thing is that he knows his lines because he's done the lines with me before. तो मुझे उनका वो process पता नहीं उनका process है.
Anjana Sukhani. One would like to assume that before an actor gets roped in for a project, that they are made fully aware of what the character.
Whenever Bhumi is speaking, it's like her words are not powerful enough, so she throws in this extra expressions, extra intonations, and emphasis on words to make it look more convincing. But we know, we see through it. We know what you're not able to say.
Does in the film and the trajectory or that character arc through the running time of the film. The concept itself of curveballs being thrown towards the actors can lead to several uncomfortable situations, especially if they haven't been informed about these changes beforehand. Anjana Sukhani was paired opposite Anil Kapoor in the film Salame-Ishq and described being cornered in doing a kissing sequence in the film, which was not initially written in the movie. Anjana describes being overwhelmed, feeling like she did not have allies on set, feeling helpless in a power dynamic that expected her to comply.
If a scene is demanding that, okay, there will be a kiss, it's fair enough. I'm saying at least inform. This is taking for granted कि नहीं है तो कर ही लेंगी, मना नहीं करेंगी.
She described working with Nikhil Advani challenging and that the ultimate behavior that was targeted towards her was not empathetic and kind. Karan Johar. This was the time when the Karan Johar versus Kangana Ranaut feud was at its peak, and at the same time, Sonam Kapoor had revealed in an interview on how she and her sister had really struggled to formulate a budget around Veere Di Wedding, and how, in sharp contrast, Varun Dhawan and John Abraham had found it significantly easier to get Dishum on the floors. In an interview with Anupama Chopra, Karan Johar was asked about the same disparity in pay, and mind you, this is the time where Varun Dhawan was at the peak of his career, having not featured in a single flop since his debut from Student of the Year, and Johar was quite blunt in his assessment of the same.
Varun Dhawan is a bigger movie star
than Sonam Kapoor?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. See his logistics.
Yeah, he hasn't he's only delivered.
His logistics.
Yeah.
He has an ABCD that opens to 14 crores. Neerja opened to 4.
I think this was the case of an actor simply complaining about what she wanted versus having a discussion with the track record and numbers actually people are ensuring for their film projects. I would assume today a Kartik Aaryan is.
It's a classic case of pulling out the woman card just because it's convenient. So you don't want to talk about logic. You don't want to talk about numbers. You don't want to have a fair comparison. You just didn't get what you want, and then you are cribbing about it and pulling out these unfair cards.
Is in a stronger position to command a higher price than Varun Dhawan. It always oscillates dependent on what you did in your last project. Sunita Ahuja. If there is one figure in the film industry that I can genuinely describe as completely unhinged, it has to be Sunita Ahuja, who for the last few months has been on this interview tour talking about everything under the sky, especially her marriage and her assessment of Govinda's oscillating career. In an interview with the YouTube channel Hindi Rush, Sunita reveals so much that it tends to make people look around and wonder whether several snippets of the interview can even be aired. She speaks about the lack of time that she spent with her husband due to the consistent shifts that he was busy with.
पहले तो कहीं जाता ही नहीं था वो ना, पहले अच्छा था, मैं वही तो बोल रही हूँ, अब पता नहीं क्या है.
The unfortunate incident that took place with Govinda recently, with a self-inflicted gunshot hitting his leg. Sunita, in her quintessential banter and screeching laugh, had this to say about the incident.
अगर मैं गोली मारती तो सीधा सीने में मारती, साले के पैर पे नहीं मारती.
Nothing beats the answer when asked about her reaction when she would see headlines of Govinda's affairs during the peak of his career.
काम इतना करता तो अफेयर करने का टाइम कब मिलेगा इसको? लेकिन अब डर लगता है, साला खाली बैठा है, कुछ कर ना डाले.
One thing is for sure.
She talks about that typical tapori woman. साले के सीने पे मारती गोली.
That there is absolutely no one like Sunita Ahuja. Rakhi Sawant. It's become quite common that actors and actresses have been asked about their cosmetic surgeries in interviews today. Khushi Kapoor spoke about being bullied at a young age for her looks. Rajkumar Rao, after being excessively trolled, was asked about his chin. But these open discussions regarding cosmetic procedures never reached the mainstream a few years back. Even though significant changes could be seen in actors' appearances after a few years, even the media would be rather hush-hush about celebrities going under the knife. The only person who was actually courageous enough to speak about their cosmetic procedures was Rakhi Sawant, who had the most famous line when she was asked about the same on Coffee with Karan.
Why not? अगर कहते हैं जो चीजें God नहीं देता वो डॉक्टर दे देते हैं.
I think I have made a tier list of the interviews and interactions I truly want to make a reality on this channel. It's definitely Urvashi Rathela, Dr. Raj number 1, Farhad Samji a close second, and a close third is actually Rakhi Sawant, because I know it will be an absolute riot. And that was a video, guys. Write down in the comments below whether you have some video.
Why is Urvashi not here? Because we don't know. We cannot trust anything that comes out of her mouth. So we don't know whether she's being deliberately stupid or she actually believes what she says.